Okay. Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Bruchim and Nitzaim. My name is Sholom Rubashkin. I don't know if you heard of. I had a very interesting, a very amazing life in the story of a Nisayon, and how HaKadosh Baruch Hu did a nest with me, and how I live with Emunah B'tochon, Aleph Bet Gimel. Emunah B'tochon Mevit HaGeulah. So just to beginning, I grew up in Brooklyn, Borough Park, Crown Heights. My parents are from Russia, and my father started this big business. He was in the meat business. He started this big business in a state called Iowa, the middle of the United States of America, where he started making a place to produce kosher meat and kosher chickens. I came in 1990 to help him, and over the next 18 years, Baruch Hashem, we built a very, very big business. When you're building a business, you need emunah also, obviously, b'tachon. And we saw tremendous siyata d'shmaya, and the business became a very big business. And then one day, what happened was, nobody expected it. The government made a raid. Those days, they raided places, and there's when I first came, there was like 70 workers. Over the years, there was like 1,000 workers there, and we produced meat and chicken. And there was a raid, and they found a lot of people that didn't have. Today they call them, what do they call them today? Dreamers. In those days they called them illegal immigrants, and they took them away. And then and a few months later I got arrested, and I got thrown to jail. From the whole family business, they destroyed everything. Didn't let us build it back up, and I wound up in jail. And they had a trial. I had a federal trial. 4 weeks, and I had a state trial. The state government of Iowa gave me charges of 9,311 charges. I'm Sabi with the book. I'm Sabi hold the book, Guinness Book of World Records of the most person ever charges. The second one I won. The first one I didn't win, and I wound myself up in jail on the federal side with a sentence of 27 years. Now, 27 years is a long time. I was 50 years old then. And what I'd like to show you today is how the powerful Yiddish Neshama is, and wherever it is, it can connect with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and is able to connect the HaKadosh Baruch Hu and pick yourself up above, and actually not get dragged down, and live a life, healthy life. And then 8 years later, Hashem made a nest, and Zayis Chanukah, like a week ago, at the 8th day Chanukah, I got a miracle. The President Trump, God bless him, was a good shliach, and then on the Zayis Chanukah he signed a piece of paper, and suddenly I was sitting in a cell, a small little tiny room, because I had this a sentence of 27 years. They wanted me to be there in a very high security jail, and they locked us in this little cell every single day. The door opened up and told me, Rubashkin, get out. And I got out. They followed them into an office. In the office I was told the good news. Congratulations, Mr. Rubashkin, the president signed a piece of paper, and you're a free man to go home. That's just a general overlook. And I came out. It was a big simcha. A lot of Eden davened for me. People davened for me. People gave tzedakah, and everybody joined together. This is 6 years ago. So here I am today in Florida, and I'd like to share with you some chizuk words about emunah b'tachon. I'd like to start with a story like that. I live now in Jackson, New Jersey, near Lakewood. That's where we live right now. I have a little shul, and I teach emunah b'tachon to everybody, to many people. When he started this new neighborhood, and there's a doctor there, he used to pick me up every morning to daven shacharit with a minyan 10 minutes away. One morning he picks me up, and he asks me, I'm driving. He's driving his Tesla. He has a Tesla, fancy car. He's driving, and he turns around to me and asks me, tell me, how much were you worth before the raid? Now, I know this guy for like half a year. Never asked me such a question. It was too early in the morning, and I didn't want to get into the conversation. I'm teaching now. So he's waiting for an answer. I didn't want to be chutzpahdik. So I say to him, before the raid, the company was doing like $325 million a year. It wasn't. I'm sorry, I just messed up the story. I said to him, before the raid, I was priceless. I said, I'm sorry, I got it backwards. I was priceless. So he says, why priceless? I said, I have a neshama. And beside my neshama, and the neshama is a part of Hashem, the Torah, and therefore I always felt I have very good self-esteem. I'm a Jew, and I'm proud, and I'm good. So he got to say, big deal. Then I told him the business was doing $325 million a year. So he goes, wow. So I say to him, look, I told you something that's always with me, never can take it away, and you said the big like big deal. And I told you about money, and money one day it was there, the next day suddenly got all smashed up, and that you make a big deal out of. And that's the truth of it. I was in a situation, I saw a lot of money, we built a big business, we had a whole, not only we built a business, we had a little community there, we had 2 schools, a boys' school, a girls' school, it was going good. And I always envisioned myself that I'm going to be a life of success and building, and suddenly I found myself in a whole different life. So I want to share with you, you'd think you fall in depression, you think I'd fall into, here's what happened. The first night after the trial, they bring me into a jail over there in South Dakota. The trial was in South Dakota. And I was shaken up a bit. I was hoping to win. Like I won the state trial, I was hoping to win the second trial also. And they schlepped me into jail. And the doors banging and the whole thing in handcuffs, and it's made there to make you feel very down. Bring me into a room, and the guard walks in, wraps a box, a cardboard box next to me. He says, I got to take off my clothes. And he brings in a package of prisoner clothes, the bright orange clothes. I got to put it on. So I got no choice, but I realized that if I take off my kippah, I say kippah, I say yarmulke. Kippah. If I take off my kippah and my tzitzit, I put it in the box. Who knows if I get it back? So I just asked the guy. I figured for sure I'm going to see it, but I wanted to make it clear. So I said to the guy, tell me, my kippah I can keep. He says, no, everything in the box. My tzitzit, no, everything in the box. I was surprised in this America. In America, even in the prison system, they're supposed to let you keep your religious things. You're alone in a room, you feel very vulnerable. I strengthened myself. I said, listen, I'm a Jewish man, and the Jewish man must always keep wearing his kippah and tzitzit. If you don't believe me, look in the Shulchan Aruch, look in the Code of Jewish Law, you see I'm not lying to you. But I need to keep it. It's so important to me. You're not allowed to walk 4 steps without kippah and tzitzit. And if you take, I understand you can take it away from me. You're stronger than me. You can take it away. You have a lot of police here. But if you take it away, I'm telling you, I'm not going to be able to walk 4 steps. I'm stuck in one place. That's it. Now, why was I saying it to him? I wasn't trying to try a fight. I was trying to make it very clear to him. This is important to me. You bring me into prison, but I'm remaining a Jew. And this is, looking back at the story, and this is something I find you can find in your life. I really wanted to be left alone. I didn't want to go through the whole fight with him with the Yarmulke Tzitzit. I was shook up. I wanted my space. I wanted to sit down, think what's going on. How do I go further? And Hashem saw, Kadosh Baruch Hu saw that if he's going to leave me alone to myself, I can sink. Hashem wanted to pick me up. In the Sayon, a test is to pick me up, not to sink me. So what did Hashem do? Hashem made me a challenge. And this guy, instead of telling me, okay, keep it, big deal, right? Yeah. He looks me in the face. He was a heavy-set guy. He looks me in the face and says to me, listen, buddy, a lot of things are going to change for you tonight. Like he's warning me. You should know you're going to change. Now I'm standing there looking at this man, and I'm thinking to myself, aha, he wants to change me. He wants to take away my kippah, my tzitzit, and he wants to make me look like the other prisoners, the goyim, and Chas v'Shalom wants to be with me. So I'm not only in danger physically, I'm in danger spiritually. So suddenly I woke up. I got to tell you, I suddenly felt like a surge of energy. Why? Because Baruch Hashem, you're learning in the Shorashim, we have Neshama Torah. And the Neshama Torah is there. And when it's challenged, like I got the challenge, I used to put a challenge, I suddenly woke up. I was a little down. Like I got all my koyach and I said to him, no, I'm not taking it off. I'm not taking it off. And suddenly he got scared, like he got shocked. And nobody ever, at this point of anything, nobody ever challenges him. He didn't know what to do. So he tells me, follow me. And he takes me into another room, and he locks me into a cage over there. There was a cell with the steel walls. It was a cold night. He couldn't even sit down over there because there was a cement floor. There was a cement chair. The whole bench that was made out of cement. It was freezing. I'm waiting. I was sure that somewhere here is going to happen. Maybe Hashem will help me. In walks his superior, the sergeant. The guy with 2 stripes on his shirt. The big clacker there. He walks in and he says to me, why are you making trouble here? I said, I'm not making any trouble. I said, I'm Jewish, I need my kippah and tzitzit. I told him the whole story. He tells me, I'll check it out with a rabbi. Check out a rabbi. I figured, sure, this is in South Dakota. So you know what South Dakota is? South Dakota, I don't know how many charedim there's, religious rabbis, but even as a reformed rabbi knows that a Jewish man wears yarmulke and tzitzit, kippah and tzitzit, I'll be okay. So I'm waiting. And he comes in with a piece of paper, and I'm going to try. I learned 3 lessons that night. Hashem really, every nisayon, every test that I had, every challenge I had, looking back, was the best thing that happened to me because I learned along the way. The first lesson I got was, I'm in a place that's trying to change me. I'm not going to change. I was in prison for 8.5 years. I got to tell you guys, 8.5 years. You guys, I wasn't able to come at night to Shorashim to get a breather. Can't go into a shul. Can't talk to a rabbi. I mean, the rabbis came to visit. Between non-Jewish people, day in, day out. I always walked with the kippah tzitzit. I always walked around. I davened in front of them. I was the same Jew I always was. And this story I'm telling you gave me the push start. And you know something? That's why they respected me. I'll bring back. So this story helped me there. So for example, they never beat me up. I was a little Jewish guy between. Most people in this place, many of these guys there were murderers, literally people that murdered. Either they were mafia. I met mafia guys that killed people like for hitmen, or whatever. People killed for money, by gangs. They weren't nice guys. And there's a little vulnerable Jewish man there walking with the city with Yam Peyot and Kippah. How are you? One guy tells me, I'm so glad to meet a person like you. I was like, very interesting. Why? Because I was able to be myself and I walked out normal. That's the point I'm trying to tell you. The koach we have within. Everyone here is having a challenge in life. But we have to realize emunah means Hashem creates me and wherever I am is for a purpose. If I'm going through a difficult part of my life, it's not to break me. Hashem is not putting me there to break me. Obviously, like Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu was born to Terach. Terach was not a nice guy. Terach fought with Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu didn't want to bow down to the idols, and Terach was pushing him. But it wouldn't have been nicer for Avraham Avinu to have a nicer father, maybe? No, because then he wouldn't be Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu has to be someone who has a challenge. He doesn't get dragged down. He fights the challenge. He comes up on top. That's who we are. So here I am in this second part of the story, and he walks in with a piece of paper. And he reads, he didn't, in those days the internet started, so he emailed some rabbi about this problem with the Jewish man doesn't want to take off his kippah and tzitzit. And the rabbi, instead of being on my side, he starts reading me a piece of paper. He tells me, listen, the rabbi is telling me, you're in prison, as if I didn't know. Shalom Aleichem, But the tone was wrong. I thought they'll say, I'm sorry to hear, I'll be to help you. You're in prison, the guards are your boss. And this guy's reading it, the sergeant is reading it. The guards are your boss, and if they tell you to take off your kippah and tzitzit, you have to listen to them, you got to take it off. And then he quotes me a Gemara, the wise guy. He tells me, because it says in Gemara, Dina de machota dina. Boom. Imagine the Chashmonaim in Chanukah would say, Yevanim come in, Dina. I didn't think about Baruch Hashem. I was stunned. I was shocked. You have to understand, I'm standing behind bars there. I'm talking to a guy on the other side of the bars. I always like to laugh and make everything a little lighter. You can't get too serious about life. And I'm thinking to myself, who's really behind bars, me or him? Because I'm talking to him. To me, he's behind bars. I'm not. I just try to keep my mood up. And I say to him, what? You know what Dina means? He says, no. I'm just reading the paper. The rabbi is saying, he reads it again, Dina, in English. Dina. I said, I'm a rabbi, and I'll tell you what it means. I got this whole speech. I gave him a speech for a long time, 5-8 minutes. I tell him, listen, a Jewish man has a body and a neshama. Body and a soul. The body, it could be in galut, in a prison, and I'll have to listen to you. If you tell me to stand, to sit, do this, I'll listen to you. But there's certain things that are connected to the neshama. For example, wearing a kippah, wearing tzitzit, eating kosher, putting on 1,000 film. Those things doesn't mean din al-chosdin. Din al-chosdin only refers to things like how fast you should go on the highway, where you can build a house, where you can build a building. Those physical things, how you live between people. But if a goy comes and tells you can't keep Shabbat, you listen to him. I explained this to this guy, and the guy obviously didn't know what I'm talking about, because, but I can tell you something. I charged up, and I realized this. I realized I could be in a place, I could be in prison, but if I live with my neshama, I'm not in prison. I'm in a place. I always said I'm in a place called prison. I reminded myself I'm not in prison. Depends if I see myself as a physical being, a piece of meat, then I'm locked in. But if I am in the neshama, I have a connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Torah mitzvot. Yeah. If I wear my tzitzit and my yarmulke, Torah mitzvot, I'm connected to Hashem. I'm not in prison. So I always said I'm in a place called prison. I was always very careful how I said things. So I want to remind myself. People would ask me in the prison, we were talking to tell me, Rubashkin, when did you come to prison? I thought I never came to prison. I never came. You're here. I said, no, I didn't come. They brought me here. Yeah. Every day I had to remember, I don't want to be here. I want to go home. Why am I here? Because they brought me. One day Hashem will free me. In any case, the guy got nervous. I said, listen, go back to the rabbi and tell him I'm right, and you'll see he'll change his mind. And the miracle is, he went in jail. Is a very, very unusual for somebody to give you an order, do something, and then he can change his mind. The miracle is, he turns around, he leaves. Again, he leaves in 10, 15 minutes. And he comes back and he tells me, okay, the rabbi said you can keep one of them. Or you KIPPAH or you TZIZIT. Dyslexia. Can you imagine? So what do I do now? Which one do you keep? KIPPAH? TZIZIT? What would you do? What would you do? This happened at night.
It seems like everything is going well for you. So I would say just continue to ask for the KIPPAH.
There you go. So I got to tell you something. I was on a roll. By now, I was all charged up. You understand? I was all charged up. I'm finally coming to Shama. I said, listen, before he said nothing. Now he said one. He's more than the mixat, right? There's a shayla over there. And they see he's not telling you the truth. I'm telling you, I need both. And he tells me, listen, Rubashkin, I'm warning you. If you're going to listen to me, I'm going to let you go out to the other. And if not, I'm throwing you into solitary confinement. And they put you in a room, and they don't let you out until you listen to them. Right? So I told him, listen, officer, I don't want to go into solitary confinement, but I can tell you, I need both. I need my KIPPAH and TZIZIT. Let me explain where I'm coming from. The word mitzvah, you heard a lot of times the word mitzvah from people, right? The word mitzvah is usually translated as meaning commandment, right? Mitzvah, how do you say mitzvah? Commandment. Hashem commands us to do this, and when we do it, Hashem pays us. But it's more than that. In Zohar it says, mitzvah comes from the meaning tzavta, connection. Connection. I know this in yeshiva. Connection. When I heard this as an older man already, as a boy, I realized much deeper. And mitzvah is not only what Hashem commands me to do, Hashem gives me an ability to connect tzavta. Hashem gives me the ability to connect with Him when I do a mitzvah. I really desperately wanted to connect with God. I got to tell you, some prison is a dark place. I was looking for life. I wanted to hold on to Hashem. So I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go my KIPPAH and TZIZIT. I was fighting for it. The guy said, warns me, if not, he's throwing me into the shul. I said, I'm not taking it off. That's it. I got that little bit. I was like, he left. I'm thinking to myself, what's he going to do? I'm not taking it off. He comes back with 5 big guys. This is really funny, actually. It's like a room, a smaller room, and 5 big guys pull in, and they're all wearing riot gear. They wanted to scare me, so they're wearing a helmet with a glass cover and a bat. Each one has a shield. And again, they're walking like this, body armor. I start laughing. I say, guys, 5 against 1. I have my hands in we're not fighting over here. Calm down. We're not fighting. All I need is my KIPPAH and TZIZIT. Anyways, they open the door and they tell me, take it off. I said, I'm not taking it off. I don't know if I got the koach to do this. I just didn't take it off. I couldn't take it off. So they had handcuffed my hands already, so they very easily took it off. And I'm sitting over there, and they say to me, stand up and go. I said, I can't. I told you, without my kippah tzitzit, I am not moving. So the sergeant disappears, he leaves. The sergeant disappears. I'm wondering what's happening. And he leaves, and he comes back with a wheelchair. They pick me up, they put me in the wheelchair, and I get a free ride all the way to the solitary confinement place. On the way, they want to be mevazemi, They want to really embarrass me. They want to say, first, I got to tell you something. What's the first thing they do to a guy when they bring him into prison? What's the first thing they do to a guy? They want to make a person feel like a prisoner. What's the first thing they do in America? America's a nice country. They're not going to torture you, beat you up. What's the first thing they do? But they want to make you feel like a prisoner. How do they do it? They change your clothes. The reason why they make you wear this funny, I'll tell you, have to see you above my says. They want to, when you're standing there with your orange pajamas, for example, right, or your green pajamas, you feel everybody around you is wearing green pajamas, the officer wearing a nice suit or whatever. So you're the prisoner, they're the free person. It drags you down. On the positive side, Shabbat, I try to see everything in a positive way. Shabbat, it says in Shulchan Aruch, we have to wear Big Day Shabbat, which is a white shirt for Shabbat, something special. That's how you feel Shabbat. When we wear kippah tzitzit, you feel you're Jewish. That's what you're wearing. That's our uniform. When they throw you into the shul, it's called a solitary confinement. It's called shul, special housing unit. They throw you into a special unit over there, it's a solitary confinement, and they want to really make you feel bad. They put you on. At least me, they gave me turtle clothes. Turtle clothes means they make you take off all your clothes, and they give you like a garbage can to put on because you're acting like a crazy man. You don't want to walk. We're afraid for your own safety. You want to kill yourself. So they give you a piece of something that you can't. It's hard. It's called turtle clothes, and the two velcros on the side, and that's it. And you feel like a real idiot, So they throw me into this shul and lock the door. This room was really like a dungeon. I'm stuck there. And the only way out, they tell me, is if I agree not to walk without my American citizens. I don't want to do that. And I had a very, very hard night. This was the hardest night, the whole night. And I was first of all, who wants to lose a fight? But more than that, it felt as if, chas v'shalom, Hashem was not with me. Like it looked like Hashem didn't care about me. How come I'm fighting like kippah tzitzit? How come I'm not succeeding? And but I realized I want to share with you a small story and how your experiences in life teach you things you can really use. I told you before, my father opened up this plant in a very rural country in Iowa. Over there, they have a lot of. One time it was Erev Yom Kippur. And I had to get home the first 2 years I lived in Minnesota until I moved down to Iowa. I had to get home as a 3-hour drive. And I didn't have the time. So one of the workers told me there's a guy next door, a farmer. He has a small plane and he agreed to fly you. So I go to the guy's house, the guy picks up his garage door, pulls out his little plane, a single engine plane. He tells me to sit down. I sit down in the front, I'm the co-pilot, he's a pilot. And on his front lawn, he takes off on his grass, boom, 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 I'm flying. Now, here I am sitting with a pilot, watching him how he uses a plane, turning the knobs, talking into his walkie-talkie. And I thought to myself, I'd like to learn things. And I figured I can learn something really, really important here today. So I started asking him, why does he do this? Like, how does he know how to fly from here to there? How does he know how to go? There's no signs upstairs in the sky. So one of the dials on his dashboard, listen to this, one of his dials on his dashboard was a bubble. It looked like a bubble. Inside this bubble was a small little plane. And I noticed that the plane that we're sitting in, as we're going higher, this little plane in the bubble points up. And it goes lower, it points down. So I say to the guy, Keith, tell me, what's this? He tells me, this is a very important dial because this can save your life. So I wonder, what is it? So I ask him, what does it tell you? He tells me, I thought it would tell me something really sophisticated about flying planes. He tells me, this dial tells me if I'm flying up or if I'm flying down. So I started laughing. I say, he got insulted. I said, why are you laughing? I said, look, you're looking at the window. There's a window in front of you. You have to look at the dial. You're a little baby, up, down. Look at the window. There's up, there's down. So he tells me like this. It's a lesson for life. Does everybody remember there was a basketball player got killed in California 3 years ago? Yeah, everybody knows his name. That's Kobe Bryant, right? Remember the guy? Huh? Sholom Sholom. What happened there? He was flying in a helicopter. He was a pilot. They were flying in bad weather. It's not a joke. This is a tremendous lesson in life. He was flying in a helicopter in bad weather. And what the pilot was supposed to do, the pilot was supposed to watch this little dial, because now you can't see. He says to me, you're flying in good weather, you can see what's up and what's down. But if you're flying in bad weather, you can't see. Not only that you cannot see what's up and down, what really happens, this pilot explains to me, what really happens is, what you think is up is really down. So you think you're flying up, and you're flying down. Can you imagine this? It's an amazing thing. So what do you got to do? He tells me, you got to look at this dial, forget about your senses, forget about your feelings, follow what it says in the dial to come out alive. Kobe Bryant's pilot was using his feelings. He was feeling his way around the problem. He was flying a helicopter, it must have done a long time. I know what's up, and what he was really doing was coming down, and there was a mountain there. The pilot tells me, even in a plane, you're flying down, right? You come out of the cloud and you're coming down too fast, and you can't pick up and get lift. You're going to go smashing into the ground. Or if there's a mountain there, you're going to hit the mountain. So he tells me, what do you got to do in such a situation? Like as if I want to be a pilot. But he tells me, you got to look at this dial, follow it, ignore your feelings, follow this, and you'll fly out to safety. Here I am. So I'm not a pilot, but I learned the lesson that the Baal Shem Tov says, that whatever we see and we hear is by divine providence, by Hashem wants us to see it. Hashem is teaching us something. I learned a tremendous lesson that day. What's the lesson? We have the Torah. The Torah is our gauge. If we want to know if we're flying up or flying down, look in the Torah, and the Torah will tell you if you're flying up or down. Sometimes your feeling will say, no, I got to do this. I got to do this way. But if you rely on your feelings, sometimes the feelings are wrong, and you're actually going down when you think you're going up. So here I was in this dungeon, real dungeon. I mean, who would believe, even as I'm telling this to you now, who would believe I was 50 years old then? 50 years, I never imagined. I'm still in a dungeon with a little window on top, the light shining in. They had a cement block over there with 4 bolts. 2 in the, like Sodom, two in the front, 2 in the back, to tie your hands and feet down. They didn't do it to me. That's what's there. I'm watching this. Wow. There was a cement thing there with 2 bolts sticking out. Like in the construction zone, they're sticking out like that. That's they put me. And the only way out of there is to leave go of my tzavta, my mitzvah of Yom and TZIZIT. And I said to myself like this, listen. It looks like the Yitzhara wants to make me think that Hashem is abandoning me, but it's an esayon. It's not chas v'sholom. I have to fight. I have to show Hashem that I am going to be with Him no matter what. I am going to do what Hashem wants, no matter what. And when I show Hashem, I'm going to do it no matter what. Hashem will help me. I made a kabbalah, achlata. I am not walking out without. I am not walking without Yom TZIZIT, and that's it. The night passed very slow. In the morning, suddenly a door opened up. In this very heavy door, that little trap door there, and the guy looks inside. The guy's wearing ground glasses. Initially, I didn't know. He didn't look like a regular guard that I've seen before that night. He looked a little different, and he has a clipboard and he starts asking me a lot of questions. What's your name? Now, I was thinking, you know my name, but just like I realized, don't be that too smart. I mean, where you live? And he's talking to me, asking me questions. I realized they sent a psychiatrist to find out if I'm normal or not. He was giving me a psycho test. I passed the test, Baruch Hashem. I did not get a diploma. I was going to ask him, give me 100, but in the middle of the test, he tells me, hey, what are you doing here? Like this, hey, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. I said to him, I'm crazy, I don't want to walk. I'm not crazy, I'm a normal guy. I'm a Jew. I need to be a KIPPAH and TZIZIT. Give it to me, you'll see I can walk. He stopped the test, he walked away. 10, 15 minutes later, I don't have a watch. A short while later, the door opened up, 2 guards were there, and they gave me back my KIPPAH and TZIZIT. I was able to walk. So what did I feel at that moment? I'll tell you what I felt in that moment. I like to say the story. This was the beginning of 8 long years. Going through, first of all, I learned that Sholom, don't change. Be who you are. Even if you're in a place that looks not Jewish, remain who you are. He tells me, I'm going to change you. No, you're not going to change me. And how do you stay connected with Hashem? With your neshama, if you live with your neshama, then you don't feel the pain of the place. You can pick yourself up. A person is not where he is physically, a person is there where he is neshama spiritually, where he wants to be. So as long as I live with my neshama, if I do mitzvot, tzav tzav chibur, then I connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and I don't feel the pain. And that's exactly what happened. I went for 8 years, I never took any of the drugs. They give you drugs like to calm you down. Never took any drugs, never had to do anything. I just lived like a Jew. I realized exactly what I was saying. I was going through a test, a nisayon. Nisayon means nes, pick you up. And munam means like this. I remember I got on the phone with a lawyer, and the lawyer says to me, you had a very bad judge. Maybe the judge doesn't like Jews. If you had a different judge, maybe you would have had a different situation. And the prosecutors, they were terrible. I thought to myself, I hung up the phone. I thought to myself, what do you mean I could have had it? If something happened, what's the difference between emunah and bitachon? Emunah means, if something happened to me already, I know who makes things happen. Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is tov, the best thing, the only one's good. So everything's happening to me comes from good. It could look tough. It could look hard. So I got to see the inside. It's coming from a place of good. So it looks on the outside like it's tough. But if I'm going to focus on the good, I will reveal the good. So I accept what Hashem gives me as my test. I continue following the Torah, which way is up. And then suddenly, I can get the good that I'm looking for, what I'm really looking for. And I see revealed good. Now I want to say, this is exactly what happened to me. Even though I was in a very rough place, I had a big business. It wasn't mine, it was my father's, but we were in a big business. And like the guy said to him, how much were you worth before? How much? I'm priceless. I have a neshama, I'm a Jew. They couldn't take that away from me. And that's why I was able to live. I was able to live in this horrible place, happy. I didn't walk around with some sugar and a smile, I can tell you that much. But meaning there's the inner happiness that what I'm doing is making Hashem happy. There was a guy over there, with white hair. I'm an older man. I didn't know at the time, this guy was a hitman. He killed people. He took money and he murdered somebody. More than one guy. I think it must tell me 6 people, 12 are underground because of him. And this is the place, so he was very poor, he had no money. So he used to come to me and ask me for at night, for cookies, for some stamps. He had to mail an envelope. And then I found out, he's telling me, Rabbi, pray for me. I pray for you. Then I find out the guy's a killer, a hired killer. So, but I didn't, everybody there had their own stories. Right? Why am I telling you this story? One day, this months go by, and one day I was sitting upstairs in the computer room. They had a computer room over there, and I was typing an email to my family. I said type it in the Torah. And it was a hot day. It was like in the summer. And there was no air conditioning in the place called prison. It was very, very, very hot. There was not much water, humid, water coming off the walls. I'm not exaggerating at all. So I wanted to get the only way to cool yourself off was getting a cold drink. So I ran downstairs to get this ice machine there. They made ice, like old time. But there's 100 people in this building, one ice machine. So the ice machine emptied out, and there's a line of these prisoners waiting to get ice. And I realized if I wait online, it's making ice slowly, everybody's taking a cup, moving on. The computer room was about to close down. It was like 3:30 it closes. I went to finish my email. What do? I see at the end of the line, this white-haired guy is standing there talking to other people. Now, I didn't really understand yet what the place prison it really is. I was foolish, right? I didn't get into it. He's talking to other guys. I walk over to him. I thought I was in yeshiva. I asked him, hey, whatever your name is. I don't like saying names. Tell me, you're waiting for ice? He says, yeah. I'm finishing an email upstairs. Do me a favor. Here, take my cup and get me ice. I got in yeshiva, you do that, right? He gives me this look. He gives me this murderous look. I mean, I just saw his face, like he got his eye. He tells me, no! Like I don't know, like as if I insulted him. Like, what did I just say was so bad? So I was about to give him a hard time. What are you talking about? You come to me every single day, you ask me for things that cost money. I give it to you. One time I ask you for something, it don't cost money, you can't do it for me. What's wrong with you? Like, I'm trying to teach him midat tavot, you know, like Then I realized, I say to myself, Shamartcha, this is prison. You don't know how these things work over here, just back off. So I backed off. I backed off very quickly. I said, I'm sorry, I didn't say nothing. I backed off, and I went upstairs, I sweated it out to finish my email. That night he comes over to me. He walks behind me, whatever. Hey, Rubashkin, I got to talk to you. I turn around, there he's standing, and his fists are clenched, and he's ready for a fight. So I was surprised. What happened there? He says, you know, you disrespected me today. I said, disrespect? I couldn't imagine, where did I disrespect this guy? I don't disrespect anybody to begin with. Where did I disrespect him? I'm trying to remember. He says, yeah. I was waiting at the end of the line with my men. I just realized he was not only a killer, he was a gang leader. The guys I saw him talking to was his men. I'm standing there talking to my men, and you come over to me and you ask me to get your ice. What am I, your messenger boy? He tells me. And suddenly I realized what happened there. I didn't mean to disrespect the guy, but to him, I walked right into it. And he's ready for a fight. So again, I didn't know how to handle it. I realized the best thing here, just apologize. I apologize, I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry. I think I'm sorry. I didn't know you're such an animal, but I really said, I'm sorry. I didn't know how things work over here. I promise you, I'll never ask you for ice again. You have to understand, I'm standing between this like in a den of, like Daniel gave a royas. I don't know how to describe this. And he's standing, he's watching me, and I wonder when maybe he's going to give me a punch or something. Yeah. And suddenly he loosens up and he says to me, Rubashkin, I watch you. I watch you. I see what you're doing. You're sitting over there praying. This is like the spot I used to pray daven over there. And you run around with your books up and down the stairs. I said, run up to the computer, and you're always into your books. He tells me, you're not even here. You're somewhere else. And he said, forget about it. And he walks away. I ran over to the phone, and I called my wife, and I said, you see, I always tell you I'm not really in jail. I'm in a place called prison, because I don't feel I'm in prison. I'm doing what Hashem wants me to do. Even this killer guy tells me I'm not even here, and that's actually what saved my life. It was interesting. I once walked out of the cell. There was a gang of Mexican guys. Mexicans can be very, very, they can be very, very vicious. Like 10, 15 guys sitting in front of the cell I was in, and they're playing cards. I walked out of there, and I didn't notice that they had a fan plugged into the wall, and it was blowing at them a hot day. I want to show you how when you live with the Emunah B'tachon, you have to learn about it. I learned Shar B'tachon a lot. Hashem is with you. Hashem was with me all the time. And every time I saw this, it gave me more life to do the mitzvot further and further and further. So I walked out. I didn't see the wire on the floor. I got clumsy. My foot got caught up on the wire, and I pulled the wire from the fan out of the wall. Guess what happened? The fan stopped. No. You think big deal. Well, this leader of the gang, a tall Mexican guy, usually Mexican, a little shortish, yeah? This is a tall guy with diamonds on his teeth. I don't know if he brushed his teeth at night. But he jumps up, he runs over to me, he tells me, I'm going to knock your head off. Chayiv Misa. What did I just now do to be Chayiv Misa? I get killed over it. I was stunned. You know, this situation, I just looked at the guy like an out-of-world experience over here. But he said, what did I just now do? He says, you disrespected us. I said, what happened? You pulled out the plug out of the wall. I said, I'm sorry, I was walking by you. I was trying to say, you take some responsibility. You put the wire across. I mean, a little logic, yeah? You put the wire across so people walk. I walked by mistake, I tripped, nothing happened. I wasn't disrespecting, I was just walking by. Here, let me put it back for you. I bent down, I put it back in. Good? He says, no, I'm going to knock your head off. Now, I didn't want to get my head knocked off, so I moved out of the way, and I ran over. I thought what I do now is there's a whole room full of these guys, and I thought maybe there's something in the rules in prison when you're on the phone, they don't knock your head off or something, I don't know. I ran over to the phone. I couldn't call my wife right away because you can't just dial right out, you have to go through the whole process. He comes over to me screaming all these negative words. I didn't know what to do. I was mamish afraid that was happening. Meanwhile, Hashem is always good to me. There's another Puerto Rican guy called Butchie. And Butchie was also a tallish guy from the Bronx. And he actually was in the cell next to me. And interesting how the Hebrews always send somebody to help you. He comes running over and he grabs this guy, and he pulls him away from me and tells him in Spanish. They're talking back and forth, and I'm only imagining, what are you telling him? This guy pulled the wire out of the wall, and I'm going to kill him. Try him. What did I do? I couldn't. Anyway, talking back and forth. And the guy walks away, the next guy walks away. Butchie tells me, Rabbi, I took care of it for you, but this guy's a very dangerous man. He's a gang leader here. Stay away from him. Okay, I'll stay away from him. Good idea. Now, I thought I'll stay away from him, but the truth of the matter is, this guy didn't forget. And he came, I came out of the cell, I saw how they're stalking me. Him and another guy, a mean-looking guy. I walk out of the cell and these two guys are standing there. Another time, I got a little bit nervous even walking out to the yard. But if I would go over to the offices, to the cops, and tell them that this guy wants to beat me up, they would throw me into solitary confinement and maybe ship me away. I didn't want that to happen. I davened to Hashem to protect me. To protect me. What does a Jew do when he has a problem? That's what bitachon means. I davened to protect me. And then a few weeks later, it was Erev Rosh Hashanah. I was sitting in the cell preparing for the Machzor. I suddenly hear screaming. The guard was screaming. All the people have to lock in. And there's usually a fight. When a fight breaks out over there, they want everybody to get into the cells and lock him in. And I was in the cell already. The other guy I was with comes running in, tells me there's a big fight outside. Who fought? This is what happened. These two guys that were after me, they were trying to beat me up. They got wind. They got information that a different member of a gang was coming to that prison that day. So they were waiting by the door. And when this guy walks in, they ask him, "Your name is Gonzalez, whatever." He says, "Yeah." And they both attacked him in front of the guard. This could have happened in the yard. They attacked him. The guard got very nervous. He called for help. 15 cops come running in. They grabbed these two guys that were after me, right? And the third guy, they grabbed all three, and I never saw him again. That means Hashem shipped him off. Hashem was literally protecting me while I was still in the place called prison. And I remember sitting there, thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the protection. And then I realized, 1 second, Hashem, if you really want to protect me, leave them here and take me home. Here's the point, guys. We don't tell Hashem what to do. We do to ask Hashem to protect us. We do tell Hashem, but Hashem was saying, I'm with you, Sholom. I'm protecting you. We can tell Hashem when we need something. We ask Hashem for the money we need, for the health we need, for the calmness we need. We ask Hashem for everything we need, right? But the way Hashem does it, we accept that's a munah. So I thought to myself, that's a silly thing to say. You have to just focus on Hashem. If the other way around, since I see Hashem is with me, Hashem is protecting me, I can really have the bitachon that Hashem will ultimately save me and take me out of prison. And that's exactly what happened. What happened was that so many years later, I was sitting in the cell, the day before I was freed, I got a letter from the court. And they told me, your case is closed. Which means in English, I went through all the appeals and everything, your case is closed. Which in English means, your case is closed because you can't get into court anymore and you have to finish 27 years. I was in jail 8 years already, 8.5 years. That means they're telling me you're stuck in jail for another 18 years and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't call a lawyer, you can't call the cops, nothing, you're stuck. And I remember holding the paper, reading it, and I thought to myself, they are not the ones who are koveya, they're not going to say what's going to happen. I never trusted in any man, I never trusted in anything, only in Hashem to help me. Hashem could do anything. I took the paper, it was the middle of David, I took the paper, I put it away. That was the seventh day of Hanukkah. That night, I went and I lit all the candles, and they let me light the candles over there. I lit all 8 candles, and I was making the bracha. a lot of Chanukah with a lot of kavanah, and I was saying the bracha, She'as hanisim la'avaseinu b'yom v'nazeh, asking Hashem for giving me a miracle. I sang Haneres Halolu, Al Nisecho, Al Nisecho. I really davened to Hashem to give me the nest. I fell asleep that night. It's also Pella. I used to get up every morning, and I used to say the whole Tehillim, because when a Jew has a problem, he says Tehillim. I said the Tehillim, and I remember the Yitzharak telling me, "Why are you getting up? Why are you saying Tehillim?" I said, "I'm saying Tehillim. I want Hashem to free me." But you got a paper yesterday. It said you're stuck. No, Hashem could do anything. I got to say Tehillim. I davened that day. 6 minutes before Shkiyah, I made I ate matzah and tuna fish. I made a little meal over there to lock everybody into the room. 6 minutes before Shkiyah, the door swung open, and the guard tells me, "Get out." Like that. I asked, "Where you're taking me?" And he says, you're changing your location. He wouldn't tell me what's going on. Right? And he sends me to a different guard to take me, and they bring me to an office. I tell you what happened. And before, that was Beis Aleph, where I got the letter. I kept my strong emunah strong. Beis, I had bitachon Hashem. I continued davening. I continued doing what Hashem wanted me to do. You know what it says in Shai Bitachon? One of the elements of bitachon means when a person trusts in Hashem, he tries hard to do what Hashem wants him to do. You know why? Because the same way you want Hashem to listen to you and do what you're asking Him, the same way you should do what Hashem wants you to do. So it's midah kedeged midah. I tried very hard always to do what Hashem wanted me to do. Sometimes I did, sometimes I made a mistake. I did tshuva. But I tried hard. And then it came to Beis, I got told to get out of the cell. And by Gimel, Tevis, I was told the beautiful news. They brought me to the office. They told me that President Trump, I got to make a l'chaim, Trump should have a victory. Amen, 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 amen. He should get back what they stole from him. I was a free man to go. And I stood over there. Let me share with you one more thought of a feeling of mine, which I think is very, very, just something I lived through, which I think you can learn from. I was standing there, and I thought to myself, first of all, look, yesterday I got a letter. It said there's no way, there's no way I can get out of here. Yeah? I believed in Hashem. Hashem could do everything. And Hashem showed me the next day, mamish, one day to the next, you're free. It's not up to anybody. We have to stay tzavta, mitzvot, Torah, mitzvot, keeps you connected to Hashem. That's how you get the bracha you're looking for. The second thing I want to tell you is, when I heard the good news that I'm a free man, I thought to myself, I said, wow. I was there, I said, wow, Hashem, you did it. I trusted you for 8 years, and you did it for me. I felt so close to Him. And I suddenly realized there's a big difference when you say wow when you're surprised about something, or you say wow when you expect it to happen. Because I really worked on my bitachon that Hashem will free me. And I always wondered, when it does happen, will I be missing that surprise, you know? You don't get surprised about something, excited about it. Wow, I just won the lottery ticket. I'm so surprised, yeah? You're excited. But if I'm thinking it's going to happen, I'm not so excited, right? Right? So I always wondered that there was a writer from a big paper, Mishpacha, so the best, they asked me to write an article, what I think is going to look like when I get freed. I wrote a whole article one place, and I write the article, and I think to myself, okay, if you're describing what you're going to do when you get freed, you won't be so excited. I'll tell you something. When a guy, someone wins a lottery ticket, holding numbers, all 6 numbers fit. You just won $1 billion. You say, what do you say? Wow! Right? That's what the next word you say? I don't believe it! I can't believe it! Hashem, thank you! I can't believe it! Hashem, thank you! What do you mean? You do believe it, you don't believe it. If you don't prepare, when you get it, you don't believe it. And that's why, after you win the $1 billion, after Hashem gives you what you're asking for, you can't say the same excitement constantly. You lose that excitement. You stay the same person you were before, even after Hashem gave you what you were asking Him to do. How many times do we daven to Hashem? Hashem gives it to us, and we don't have enough brains to realize Hashem gave it to you. But why don't you change it? Hashem is with you, right? Versus if you're waiting for the Geula, you're waiting for Hashem to help you, and you have bitachon, Hashem will help you. When you get it, my wow was a little different. I said, wow, Hashem, you did it. I trusted you did it. You know what happened? I'm today as excited today to talk to you about Hashem's miracles as I was the first year when I got out. Why? Because that feeling of closeness to Hashem remains. Because I believed it. When I got it, I didn't say, well, I don't believe it. I do believe it. Because Hashem says in His Holy Torah, Hashem tells us, when you have a tzara, when you have a problem in your life, and you just don't like certain things about your life, Hashem wants you to trust Him to help you. Daven, learn, get closer to Him. And you'll see the Yeshua coming. You know, I always look through, every day I saw Yeshua, I walked out of a cell, and they didn't beat me up during the day. It's a miracle. I'll finish with this story. I was once sitting in the computer room. I'm typing a letter. Not a letter, I'm typing a Dvar Torah. Two guys sit down next to me. One guy's name was Ice. You know Ice? His nickname was Ice. You know, he must have been a very warm-hearted person, Ice. And he had hands the size, each like two of my hands was one of his. You know, he was really stocky, from the Bronx. And his sidekick was a Spanish guy called Flaco. You know what Flaco means? Skinny, yeah? So Ice and Flaco walk in, and they sit down next to me, and they open an email, and they start a conversation like a truck driver, like a prison, like a sewer just opened up. They were using words, and a discussion that yeshiva, man, I just didn't feel. I just think, how am I sitting typing it out there? And they gotta start talking all these things I shouldn't be listening to. So what am I going to do? If I tell them that I'd be quiet, they'll beat me up, yeah? So I figure I'll hint it to them. I put my fingers in my ears. You laugh. And I'm waiting. I thought maybe they'll realize this is a computer room, a quiet zone. Like a quiet zone. You don't talk. These are tough guys. And of course they were keeping talking guys. And I can't type and hold my ears ahead. So I decided, you know what? I put my foot on the floor, ready to run. And I turn around to them and I tell them, guys, do me a favor. Stop talking like that. I'm too young for this conversation. I was trying to say in a funny way. They were talking so. I was expecting them to give me a whole barrage of verbal abuse. If you don't like it, get out of here. And I heard this every day. Yeah? That's I expected, and I would run, so they shouldn't beat me up. Yeah? Instead, they say to me, oh, Rabbi, we didn't realize that we're bothering you. They shut down their computer, and they left. I just stood there for 5 minutes. In prison, nobody gave anybody anything. And I didn't want to leave there because you shut down your computer, you can't get back on for another half an hour. And if there's a line, it take way longer. I didn't want to shut down my computer until they finished the sewer talk. Right? They did it for me. I realized that these guys are not because I'm smart, not because I'm powerful, but a Yid lives the way he's supposed to live. Hashem takes care of him. The Goy realizes this guy is different. The 2 days before I left, Monday night, a real tough-looking guy, a Shorashim guy, calls me out. I got to talk to you. I didn't know what he was. He takes me downstairs over there next to the sink, and he tells me, "Listen, I want to tell you something. Before we got into jail here, if I met you on the street, if I was walking down the street and you're walking down the street, we're passing each other. I'd pass by you, and you'd pass by me. We wouldn't talk to each other. I'm thinking to myself, yeah." If I see you on the street, I'd walk to the other side of the street. He was a tough. This guy was like a tough-looking guy. You know, the guy you would walk across the street if you saw him coming. But he tells me, so now that I got to meet you in prison, I thank God I met a man like you. I don't know what he wants to tell today. And he starts telling what he did and what he didn't do. Wow. You know, like, but he wanted to tell me. That's what happens, guys. We're coming to Shorashim. We're learning our roots. Our roots are in the Shema to God Himself. When we do mitzvah, we connect with Hashem. That's the biggest present you can have, the most power. You look for power, connect to God who is the source of power. You want money, connect to God who's the source of money. You want good, anything in life. You want pleasure, connect to Hashem, and that's where you get your pleasure. I walked out of prison. A guard calls up my wife and tells, one of the Jewish guys who was there calls up my wife and tells her the next day, you know, I overheard 2 guards talking to themselves, talking to each other, and one guard asked the other guy, who is this Rubashkin that the president just freed? That's asking, right? Because some guys knew me personally because they were taking care of the building, and some guys didn't know who I was. I mean, they saw me. I was there for 7 years, over 7 years, and who is this guy? Describe him to me. So the guy described, you know what he described me? He says, you know the guy that was always happy? That's the guy. And I was stunned. When we live with our neshama, we're happy. There's inner happiness that we have. I didn't walk around with the meshuggah smile you have on these phones. What a wonderful day walking around in prison. You know, like, that wasn't that. But I felt I'm going through a hard time, a painful time, a time that I was asking Hashem to get me away from. I didn't want to be there, but I looked at it as a nisayon that's going to pick me up. I'm doing it the way Hashem wants me to do it. Hashem is happy with me. If Hashem is happy with me, then that makes me happy also. Everybody have a lot of bracha, vatzlacha, and Chazak Baruch.